And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes wearing a shirt that looks like art that would be hanging in a dentist's office. It is what it is. I got it for $2. I quite enjoy it. It's airy. Anyways, as is a Thursday tradition, it's time to look forward into the future and kind of look at what we're getting tomorrow and the teases that we've received from 2K. I feel like when I sit like this with like my arms on the desk, I feel like I'm hosting a talk show, one that is on cable, like basic cable access that no one watched. Do they still do local cable access shows? No, there's no way. That's like such a 90s thing. There's no way there's still like a forum show hosted by just some dude in your town that only 4 people watch anymore. There's no way that's a real thing. Anyways, we got some stuff to do. I'm kind of stoked about it. We haven't gotten any drops for limited, so I would assume that the what we're gonna get in limited tomorrow is not going to be like a limited card. Maybe they do that thing again where they let us get like a Bones Highland or something like that, like one of those cards. That's what I can hope for anyway. Is that going to be the case? I don't know. Kind of depends. So we got our first drop here, LaVine Machine. Ew, that just sounds gross. We got a point guard eligible Zach LaVine in the new Zero Gravity set, which I would assume this is a bunch of dunkers, right? I would assume this is basically leap year, right? So we got Zach LaVine first. He has point guard eligibility, which is pretty cool, I guess. I'm going to talk more in depth when I go over to the 2KDB portion of this video, you know what I mean? High tier content over here on the Cheap Ludes channel. LaVine looks good. I don't know about this player scan, but it is what it is. It's all good. Like, Opal LaVine is already good enough that I don't know how much more you could realistically improve on, but I guess we'll find out. I don't know. I mean, LaVine's tight, At least we got the point guard LaVine early enough this year. Typically, we get it. I mean, not typically. We've only got position cards for 2 years, but last year we got a point guard LaVine. We got him the splash zone set so late that it didn't even really matter at that point. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone had Luca, so which I guess everyone has Luca again. Doesn't change. Then we got Big Blake. They're doing better, but they just can't get Blake Griffin down. I don't know if it's his like light complexion or what it is, but they can never get an accurate Blake Griffin. Like he always kind of looks like just not Blake Griffin. At least they got the skin tone right this time. That's a positive step, I suppose. Blake Griffin's going to be good. I'm sure everyone will complain about Blake Griffin though, or say he's trash. I think if any dark matter is a buyout, it's going to be Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin and Russell Westbrook are going to be the first 2 buyouts. That's my prediction. I don't know how accurate that is, but I personally believe it to be true. So Blake's going to be good though. And then we got Paul George. I mean, we all knew Paul George was coming at some point. I had an assumption that it was going to be Paul George or Kevin Durant. So we haven't got Kevin Durant this week, so we'll probably get him next week. Paul George is good. I mean, obviously he's going to be fire. He's going to have Paul George base on quick or very quick. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The release is really solid regardless. Huge player build. He's going to play good defense. Is he going to be worth the MT that he's going for? Absolutely not. And I say this every single time with Paul George cards. So I don't know. And it's going to be tough too, because I mean, we got the whole season 6 dropping tomorrow too, which is going to be a whole thing realistically. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know. They usually start off the season with pretty mid packs. I mean, the power with impacts in season 5 were good in hindsight. You know what I mean? Scottie Pippen was fire, and like Cade was really good, actually. Those were pretty good packs, but they weren't really hyped the way we thought they were going to be. Anyways, let's take a look at a couple cards. Right off the bat, let's do Zach LaVine, because LaVine is... Why don't they ever let me search players on there? I can't type right now. Zach LaVine is good. I mean, 6'5", 6'8" wingspan. Decent size. He looks a wee bit smaller, like his player build. He's got a really skinny player build, but he looks a little bit smaller than like Oscar Robertson, but roughly the same. I mean, this card was already heat. Like, he had Zach LaVine on normal, which is basically Trey Burke base, so it's going to be very, very good, probably on quick. I would assume he has every hot zone. Badge-wise, I would assume they're basically the same, except he'll probably have like Hoff Chef, like Hoff Deadeye, I would guess. And then he'll have a couple Hoff defensive badges for sure. And I guess because he can play point guard, he'll probably have like Hoff Hyperdrive and like some other dribbling badges like Handles for Days. And he'll probably have like at least some version of Quick Chain. Quick Chain, I think, is the badge, by the way, that they're going to leave off of cards from this point forward. You know how every single year there's a badge that they leave off of cards? Like, obviously not in 20 because they took away badge editions, but last year there was always one badge that they left off of cards. I think Quick Chain's going to be that one for the future, at least for the next couple months for sure. But LaVine's going to be stupid. I mean, this card was already incredibly good. He's already like a very, very good shooting guard, so I can't imagine, like, you know what I mean? How much better can they realistically make this, dude? What's his dribble moves? I mean, he's got quick dribble style with Trae Young's dribble. Yeah. Big Blake. This Big Blake was pretty trash. I expect his speed to be way up, probably closer to the 90s. And I would expect him to have like gold limitless and chef he probably doesn't have, but I would assume limitless, deadeye, clutch shooter, he probably has all those. And honestly, Blake is really good. Like Blake Griffin, his release, significantly better than you would expect. I mean, I feel like not a lot of people really hype his release, but his release was good last year and it's pretty good this year. We just haven't gotten elite level Blake Griffin card. Like every time we get a Blake Griffin card, he's like a gem tier behind. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping to see like a very truly elite Blake Griffin tomorrow. Am I going to be able to afford the card? I mean, probably, but like I'm not going to spend all my MT on Blake Griffin. It depends. His price will completely come down to what dribble moves he has. If he has power dribble style, no way he's over 150k. But if they give him like, you know, quick, or which I don't think they're going to give him quick, but even if they give him like fundamental or shifty, yeah, I could see him being pretty expensive. I really could. And then we obviously got Paul George. I mean, there's not really much to talk about here. He's 6'9 with a 6'11 wingspan. At the two guard, it's going to be huge. Like, Paul George based on normal is good. He's got his own dribble style, and I don't think they'll change that. Because you got to remember, 2K is going to try to sell us another Paul George at some point in the near future. Probably not near, but like at least in the next couple seasons. So they're going to want to save the Paul George with the shifty dribble style and like the Scottie Pippen behind the back for later. I would assume anyway. I mean, it remains, I don't know, dude. It's kind of hard. It's hard to say. Like, also, I like how they're advertising straight to me. There's no one in this world that loves Lowe's and Peacock more than this guy right here. It's like, oh, geez. I really need to invest in an ad blocker, but like, I'm just cheap. Sorry, you're going to have to suffer through secondhand ads. I wish they would at least give your boy like 3 pennies. Just like a couple pence for this. You know what I mean? Paul George is going to be stupid, though. I mean, this card stats-wise was already near perfect anyway. Like, I would assume stat-wise are going to be the same, but they'll probably boost his interior defense and his rebounding stats. Obviously, he'll have higher than silver tight handles as well, but doesn't matter. I would assume he has Hoff Chef probably, too. Like, this card's going to be one of the most overpowered two guards in the game, no question. Him and Zach LaVine, I think, are going to be incredible. Paul George just has that size, too, which sounds really gross now that I say it out loud. But anyways, let's go take a look at the market. There's not a whole lot of news today, unfortunately. All right, see, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of market moving here. Like, truly, I really don't think the market's really going to change all that much tonight. I don't think too many cards are going to drop in price. I mean, we're going to see guys like David Robinson and Shaq and other big men kind of fall in price a little bit just because of token market Dikembe. But other than that, I don't think we see a whole lot of drops at big men. Like, I don't think Big Blake moves the needle in regards to like any high tier cards, realistically. I don't. I mean, as much as I like Blake Griffin, and there are people that definitely like him at the power forward, I do not think he's really going to cause a huge drop in power forwards. Like, I don't. And honestly, with the cards that we got last season, it's hard to say if any of these guys are really going to drop. Like, Scotty Barnes is relatively cheap right now. I think he's worth the price, but I would hold off until tomorrow to buy him because we have no idea what we're getting. You know what I mean? Zion, I mean, if you want to pick him up now it's probably the lowest he's going to be for at least like a couple weeks, and then he'll drop down more. But like even Paul George, I just don't know if he's really directly going to affect anyone's price. Like even someone like Tim Duncan, I don't think Big Blake affects. Like Tim Duncan, I think is going to be, I don't think as, or not better than Big Blake, but at least close to it where it's like not that big of a deal. If you want Kareem, this is probably the best time to get him for a while. Like you'll be able to get him for cheaper than you will like in a couple days even. Like I said, everyone's kind of amped up for Dikembe Mutombo because he's free. So people are really amped up for that card. So you can get decent value for a lot of these guys. And I'll be honest, like Dikembe, I'm going to pick him up. But I don't think he's quite going to be as good as people are expecting him to be because he is a token reward at the end of the day. And even if he is as good as people are going to expect him to be, then 2K is just going to release a significantly better center next week, if not straight up tomorrow. Now, like I said, because people are really hyped about that and they're going to want to lock in, if you have any of these Hunt for Glory cards, sell them now. Guys like Tyler Hero and some of the diamonds, especially the opals that were in the locker code, like you can go ahead and keep those cards. Like they're not going for enough where I would say absolutely you should sell them. You know what I mean? But guys like Jared Sullinger, Stromile Swift, OJ Mayo, like guys in that ilk, absolutely sell those guys. No question. There's like so many Wang's AZs, which I find very interesting. Like where did all these Wangs come from? Like, and I understand, like, I'm saying it the way I'm saying it. I get that. Every time I walk into my house, dude, during springtime, I feel like I'm just going to die. Like, just my nose, I can't breathe out of it. I need some allergy medicine. Anyways, dude, Tony Allen's pretty cheap. I just feel like Tony Allen suffers from the Tony Allen effect. Like, he's Tony Allen, so it doesn't matter how rare he is. He'll never be expensive based on that fact. Oh, I could never sell my boy Dante DiVincenzo even for 15K. No way, couldn't do it. I think these sets, so the Soaring set probably won't be too expensive. Even the lower tier cards that are expensive all the way around, just because Donovan Mitchell himself is expensive. So the way I look at it is, the reason someone like Lonnie Walker is going to be expensive is because Monte Ellis was cheap. So you could realistically lock in the set. You could get the highest tier card in the set, and then if you have a couple of the other ones, like what's spending 30K for 150 tokens if that's what's keeping you from Dark Matter Dikembe? You know what I mean? So that's the kind of logic people use, and you have to capitalize on that logic, right? If you have a card that locks in a set that's slightly rare, people will overpay for that card simply to get those tokens. Like if I have every one of these cards except Lonnie Walker and I'm 100 tokens away from Dark Matter Dikembe, I'll pay 30K for Lonnie Walker. In my mind, I'm paying 30K for a Dark Matter. You know what I mean? So all of these cheetah cards are cheap. I just feel like no one opened these packs. So shout out to my boy Van Exel. There's a bunch of them. If you sold all the cards from the cheetah set, it's probably around 100K, which is a really good amount of MT for 5 basically unusable cards, realistically, which is tight. So I don't think any of the other sets will be expensive. I think if you're going to want to look at any to lock in, if you have any of the Iced Out 2 guys, every single one of those cards is cheap. Like, every single one. But realistically, it doesn't really matter. Now, there are going to be some cards you can come up on for cheap. Like, Oscar Robertson will be cheap tonight. Now, that being said, I don't think they're going to release a point guard as good as Oscar Robertson for the price that Oscar Robertson is right now. I could totally be wrong. They could drop like a super fire point guard for the cost of like Oscar or Chauncey or Manu, but I really don't think they will. Hold off on buying guys like Eddie Curry. Yeah, I mean, he's good. Shout out to Kevin Duckworth. Anyways, I'll be back with more content tomorrow, guys. It has been your boy Cheap Ludes. I'm about to go die on the couch and play MLB. Peace.